In this segment, we'll talk about importing your models into ZBrush. Now, as you begin working in ZBrush, it may be a little foreign to you, coming from other 3D packages. Just things are a little different. First inclination is come up here and open a document or import an object, and really these tools up here don't have much to do with 3D work in ZBrush. The models or objects are actually known as tools in ZBrush, and you will access your models through the tools menu. So if it's not already docked in your right hand side, you can access tools right here. Go ahead and dock that over, and you'll see right down here under tools your objects or your tools. So if you click on that, you will be able to see a number of 3D meshes available to you, just as primitives are available to you in your 3D package. So if you click on one of those and click and drag in the viewport, you can see that you have now a 3D object there. Now, this is a very important step. If you do not click edit before you go on, you will simply continue painting these objects into your scene, and they once you do that, they are no longer 3D and you can't do anything with them. So let's go ahead and clear this out, clear the layer, and begin again by clicking on a tool. Click and drag that object into your scene. Now we'll go right up here and click on edit, or T on your keyboard. And once you've done that, now you can see that you can rotate around that object. What I've done is right click in the viewport and just simply drag around. Now if I hold my shift key down, you can see that that snaps that tool into the different places. If I hold my alt key down, I can drag and move that around, and if I click my alt key, drag, then I'm zooming in and out. So again, very important to click the edit key in order to keep your model or your tool live so that you can work on that. Additionally, you have tools that you can load in. So if I go right up here to load tool and load in one of the standards that comes with ZBrush, you can see that this dog is available, and I can go right in here and start to sculpt that as long as I am in edit mode. Now if I come out of edit mode and paint with this dog, and then I come up here and clear out this screen, and you've done a lot of, say you've done a lot of work on your model and you've accidentally dropped it to the screen, clicking edit, you can access that tool that you've been working on right here in Quick Fix. They are available for you, and just go ahead and draw that right back on there. And you can, oops, go into edit mode. Oops, I've done it to myself. So let's clear this. Okay, you can access that dog right there. Draw him on there. Go to edit mode, and then you can begin your work again. Alright, in the next lesson we will talk about how to import our own OBJ files and begin sculpting on our own models. We will also look at things that we need to be aware of while we're importing our own models, and we'll also talk about how to save those out as ZTools for OBJ files, our own OBJ files. So if we go to import right up here in the right hand corner, then we can go ahead and import a OBJ file, an ASCII file. We go to working file. I'll load in my head that I've been working on, and then because my pivot point is not located right in the center of the object, you can see that's why that's doing that. But once I have that in place, I'll hit T on my keyboard or go up here to edit, make sure that geometry is available to sculpt, and I'll just frame that in. And the first thing I'd like to talk about is we would like to make sure that our mesh is quads, as many four-sided polygons as possible. We would also want to make sure that they are as evenly spaced or as square as possible, rather than long rectangular quads. Just don't work nearly as well as the squared. And we want to make sure that they're as evenly spaced as possible. Now this mesh is a little bit higher resolution than a typical mesh that we might import, but I'll use this one as my demonstration model. I tend to put a few more polygons in the face and ear prior to bringing it into ZBrush or Mudbox, so that I can maintain a little bit better control over my facial features. Alright, making sure that we follow those guidelines will give us a cleaner result as we go in and add our detail. Now I prefer to build in a certain topology around the eyes and the mouth, say if I know that I'm going to be sculpting in additional detail. That will give me a little bit better result than fighting against the grain, so to speak. So if I go in here and enter geometry and start to divide that, you can see that it's much easier to come in here and sculpt around in these areas than, say, sculpting an eye in this area where the topology has not been built in. So no matter how much you divide this mesh, you're going to run into problems if you if you don't first make sure that your topology is running in the grain that in the vein that you want it to. Now another thing I want to call your attention to as a problem that you want to watch out for is n-gons, triangles. So this particular model has quads, and I want to show you first how this one is dividing. If you watch the back of the head right here, it's all quads and it's actually subdividing extremely well. I'm getting a nice round shape here. It sculpts well, and there don't appear to be any issues. So if I load in a model, import a model that has n-gons in the back of the head, then you can see that it does not subdivide well. And I'll show you that in Max so that you can get an idea of what that looks like. But right back here, what I've done is change that topology to have n-gons in it, and you can see no matter how much you subdivide your mesh, how high this mesh gets, you still have lumpy areas that are not really, they're just going to add more edges to those poles, as they call them, and just continue to look lumpy no matter how much you try to smooth that out. So let me now go to Max to show you what that looks like in the low poly model. You can see the example here. It's not mapped fully, but you can see that my n-gons have been placed here as an example of what to watch out for when you are importing your mesh. You know that you have n-gons in place that need to be modified if in fact you do have poles that are not subdividing well. Alright, additionally what I'd like to show you for import is under preferences you'll have import-export preferences available, and in here if you find that your models are flipped when you bring them in, you can go ahead and play with these settings until you get the model that you, or the orientation that you are looking for. Additionally, I'll just drop that and clear it. In preferences, you have the ability to flip normals, which I wouldn't recommend, so then you'll get something that looks hollow. Let's see, go to edit and frame it up. There's something that looks like this. So you can see that if you have something that looks like it's invisible and you can see the back of it but you can't see the front of it, that simply means that your normals are flipped.